Well, a year ago, you'd have probably expected to see Pinson and Cracknell amongst today's finalists. But after a truly painful defeat by Australia at last year's Worlds, they've been redirected to the fore. Well, over in lane one, South Africa, who qualified for the final in controversial circumstances.
Yeah, you could see on the nearest to us here, Canada beginning to move across and to impede the South Africans. South Africans in good third place, but Canada, as they're falling back there, move across into the lane of the South Africans. You can see them going right their way across there. They're inside their lane as they cross the line, impeded them and knocked the South Africans back, and so the Canadians were disqualified.
And Serbia and Montenegro also beneficiaries, qualifying for the final in third place, but not seen in Europe until some 10 days ago.
Well, all eyes on Australia there in the centre in the green boat. That's the class act in this event. And that's South Africa there. And here coming into the picture there they are in yellow. Big stretch out as James Tomkins takes his boat off very fast, actually, for them, because they usually like to go off quite steadily and then settle and move through in the middle of the field. But he's 39 years old now, Jimmy Tomkins, at the stroke seat there, and he's been finding it a little bit tougher, I think, through this regatta in his 39th year. It's not been going quite as smoothly as we're used to seeing here, but they're up there just about leading the group and settling into their rhythm.
James Tomkins, this is fifth Olympics, 2 Olympic gold medals in 92 and 96 with the great awesome foursome, Mike Mackay, Nick Green, Andy Cooper, and he's got a gold medal in every sweep boat at world level. He's quite a remarkable sportsman.
David, you've got to ask whether the Great Britain pair, Matthew Pinsent and James Cracknell, might not be up in this field here as well. They were beaten last year into fourth place by the Australians, and the coach, Jürgen Grobler, took them out of the pair and put them into the four, leaving the field here open really for Australia. I suspect here that Australia will move out in front the way they love to do and get their lovely long stretching rhythm out there, and Croatia and South Africa to fight it out for the silver medal. But here they are now, those three crews moving out in front.
That's as maybe, Dan, but Germany's still on the premises, 3 from the top of your picture. South Africans on the far side would be just about in about 5th place, but they come with a late rattle, and we just have to wait and see whether they can close up on the Australians. Tomkins just keeping an eye to his left-hand side, because that's where all the dangers are.
Indeed, indeed. Notable absentees here are Italy, who had done so well through the season at the World Cup events. They were 5th last year at the World Championships. They won the Lucerne World Cup. They got beaten in the semi-final, and you have to wonder whether perhaps Lamura, the coach of the Italian squad, has been pushing his men a little bit too hard in this lead-up here, because Italy have not been performing as well as they you'd expect them to perform. Italy, therefore, not here, and were certainly going to be one of the main contenders.
And indeed, the French, who had a wonderful victory, if you remember, in Sydney with Andrew and Roland, with that fantastic final 750-metre burst. Really, in a way, disappointing that France couldn't even qualify a crew for the Olympics.
That's right, that's right. But here, out in front here, and in the end, you have to think probably that no one was going to touch Ginn and Tomkins. They're out half a length there, with Croatia pushing very, very hard there. Schinias in the bow seat, heaviest man in the event here, 102 kilograms. They're moving very well. They move very nicely. They were at the Olympics in the Croatian 8 4 years ago, where they won a bronze medal. Then they came out of the 8 into the pair, and they've been a force ever since.
Absolutely, silver and bronze medal in the last 2 World Championships. I just wonder, though, this tactic of the Australians, obviously going out as hard as this, they are using a little bit more petrol than they might have done.
They do, and you have to think that perhaps Tomkins is not looking quite as comfortable as he usually does. The rate's a little bit higher than usual at this stage. It's not quite as fluent. Boat's rocking around a little bit. There we have South Africa, always hard in the second half of the race, taking a little look across to see what they've got to do there. At the moment, they're now just about in bronze medal position, but trying to get back on terms with Croatia.
And on the near side, Dan, we haven't talked about them, George Bridgewater and Nathan Twaddle. You can just see the bow, or you saw it momentarily there, of their pair, and they are not far away.
No, they're up there. They're up there with South Africa, with Germany. Germany, I think, did well to qualify for this final. They haven't really been a force. There they are now, sitting quite low. They're sitting low, long-legged man there in the stroke seat.
And now Tompkins, and again opening up. Tompkins, of course, who was partnered by Matt Long, super sub, in Sydney when Ginn had his back problem. They finished in bronze medal position, and this at the moment looks like very much sweet revenge.
Well, look at him. Look how they go. They're at 36 strokes a minute there, but it's not quite that same effortless movement that you usually expect. And Croatia having to fight off a very determined challenge there from South Africa, who certainly feel that they've got the power over the second half to match them.
But these boys, they're not that far behind. Twaddle and Bridgewater, you can't quite see the line across between them and the South Africans, but they're in with a shout of a medal at this moment. Croatia certainly in silver medal position. Germany just falling back now, and also Serbia and Montenegro. Stoic and Stegic finding this a little bit too hot. But the Skellin brothers, with 500 metres to go, there's about a length and a half of clear water that they've got to close on. And in fact, you know, Dan, the New Zealand boys, they're actually, that caption says that they are in fourth place, but I think they're closer to bronze.
They are closing up very much on the South Africans. They've noticed the danger. They've looked across there. Again, Croatia beginning to slip back a little bit as Australia extend their lead, but they do move very nicely, Croatia. Very long, very powerful, very well together. Brothers always work very well in a pair.
The gap is closing. Skellin brothers are getting a little bit closer now to the Australians. South Africans on the far side. New Zealand still on the premises, still with an outside chance of maybe getting into the fight for that bronze medal.
They're moving very well, South Africa. They're closing up on Croatia all the time, but the race here for the silver medal is pushing them both back onto Australia. Australia looking for the finish a bit. Tompkins looking at the crowd, just trying to see how much further they've got to go, but certainly the two pursuing crews are beginning to move up on them.
All credit to the Skellin brothers, because every time the South African pair ask them a question, the Skellin so far have found the answer. As a result, New Zealand on the right there just beginning to feel the pace and just beginning to get outsped. There are the Skellin brothers on the far side, Ketch and Di Clemente, the two men who share their same birthday in May, but are never able to celebrate because they're always in training at that time of the year. Well, they might be able to celebrate after this if they can hold on and get the bronze medal, but the gold, most certainly, as Tompkins looks round, is going to go to Australia with his partner Drew Ginn, and Chris O'Brien, their coach, will be pretty delighted as well. It is gold to Australia, silver to Croatia, the bronze goes to South Africa, and a brave effort there by New Zealand. They finish in fourth place ahead of Serbia, Montenegro, with Germany just crossing the line now. Great race by the Australians, Dan.
A great race, and finally Ginn gets his gold medal.
They needed to be that quick to deny New Zealand the bronze. And they never came to Europe until the Olympic Games, and since they've been here, they've won every race they've started in. And what a great birthday present for James Tompkins. 39 last Thursday. Just perfect.